We're here at the DMA Conference in Las Vegas, and I'm talking to Ernan. Ernan, tell us actually who you are, what your title is and role is, and who you're with.
Sure, happy to. I'm Ernan Roman, president of ERDM Coporation, and our company does specialized voice of customer research to help corporations understand how their customers or prospects are defining their expectations for deep personalization and what the journey should be once they become a customer for deeper and more meaningful engagement. And given some of the things we're finding, given the frustration with poor, inept attempts at personalization, needing to really figure out how to get this right.
Great.
So that's the kind of strategic research we do.
So let's come back to that in a second. But first, we are here at the DMA Conference. You've been to DMA Conference several times, or?
I would say so. I started coming to DMA conferences when I was in my 20s.
20s, wow.
So
that was just
yesterday.
ago.
That's right. So I would, I haven't even counted. I would think this is probably my 35th or 38th DMA annual conference.
Wow. Two questions. What brings you back each year, and what are you really looking forward to getting out of the conference this year?
Very good questions. I think what's been bringing me back for 30 odd years to the chapel here in Las Vegas, the collegiality of an annual conference. I speak
bringing people together.
I speak all over the world. There's a collegiality, a friendliness, an accessibility that I have not found in other conferences. The many clients that I bring to DMA Annual talk about a willingness to openly share information and data and results that they don't find in their respective vertical IT, financial, biotech vertical conferences. So collegiality, access, and DMA continues to do a beautiful job in bringing innovative brands that we all need to learn from. For example, Shinola, the remarkable Detroit brand, or other remarkable brands that DMA brings to folks. I think the last thing, and we've been working on it for years, but it's getting better, is the international. So the growing percentage of international folks, so those of us as U.S. marketers can learn much more from the international community.
Great. How are you helping your clients translate what information and data you're getting for your clients into actual improvements and movement forward?
Great. As we think about the corporations who come to us, IBM, HP, Gilt, QVC, Shinola, and others, they all have a great deal of quantitative data in terms of their internal customer insights departments. And that has gotten them certainly a portion along the journey toward personalization, understanding what that arc is of a customer relationship. The frustration they're having is the expectations that millennials, and now even more so Gen Zs, have for personalization is so much exponentially higher than we had as boomers or others. Why? They know how much data is captured every time they're on the mobile platform of that brand, or they go on the website. So they know that the data is being captured, whether they opted in or not.
So they expect it to be used correctly.
Exactly. And so the expectation is higher than we've ever had as an industry. So the way we are being judged, it's fair, it's much higher, much harsher, and we are failing consistently across the board with CX personalization. As far as we keep learning in the research, you guys are doing the same old crap. You're calling it different terms. It's the same old crap that we receive as millennials or Zs. So we're doing these hour-long deep interviews to understand emotionally, attitudinally, and in great depth how they define themselves, because personas and cohorts are not working. So how they define themselves as human beings, not cohorts. One of the great quotes from recent research: it is insulting when we receive an email that attempts to personalize us. It is obvious that they're trying to reduce us to a simplistic cohort. I am a complex human being. So that was a brilliant way of saying we can't model, we can't use inferential data and expect it to work the full way. We need to blend the best of the inferential data with explicit opt-in preference data. Those are some of the key things we learn in the research, which we then can model and clients can then action to develop totally new approaches to segmentation.
But we're also in this period of where consumers are seeing data breaches and they don't trust it. So how are you helping your clients bridge those gaps? Like, how do you actually help them get the data that increasingly consumers do not want to give up?
It's great point. And it's almost like a paradox. So in the course of these interviews that our team is conducting with the customers and prospects of these brands, and we hear about their incredible frustration that personalization and CX and journey mapping is so basically inept. I mean, we're getting sort of between a D and a D minus on grades, and as an industry by customers. So when we ask, well, what would make it better? Learn about me as an individual. I'm not a cohort. I'm not the sum of transactions or models. But then we say, well, how would the brand know a lot of this? And the response we invariably get is, good Lord, ask me.
Ask me.
You know, oh my God, blinding glimpse of the obvious. Ask me.
Yeah.
Well, then we'll come back and say, but given all the concerns, aren't you concerned about privacy, etc.? And invariably the answer that we are receiving is, if I trust the brand, if there's any premise for a relationship with each other, and it's a brand I've trusted, it's in my self-interest. Okay, it's in my self-interest to give you this extra data, with the expectation the data will be used to create a tangibly improved experience, and then what came out of the research, we call it reciprocity of value. I'll give you, understand how rich my data is. It's not for yours for the taking. If I trust you, I'll share it. But man, there's expectation of reciprocity. That helps people get over the privacy and data sharing concern.
If you deliver on it.
Because now they're holding the brand accountable because they gave them intimate, precious information. And by the way, this holds true for B2B executives, the customers of those B2B brands I mentioned, or consumers. Both want deeper, more personal messaging, education, etc. That's how it's working in this crazy time of fear of data. Great question.
I think we see going forward that data is going to be a company's single biggest competitive advantage.
Absolutely.
Right? The companies that are going to win going forward are those that know how to capture, leverage, use data responsibly, but ultimately to deliver better customer experiences. What are you seeing in the clients you work with? Where is it falling apart?
This level of personalization can't succeed without senior management commitment to say the culture has to change. We can't do more spray and pray, and we can't do these awful blasts, but we keep calling it, it's really good one-to-one marketing. I mean, so we have to say what we're doing is inadequate. As a CEO, CMO, that person has to be willing to take lead and put their personal capital into leading this. Number two, part of that, metrics have to change. As long as marketing and sales are judged by how many kills they've made, then all this investment in love and nurturing and an arm around the shoulder, that's an expense in the old model. So wait a sec, you've got to rethink that the key metric is LTV, and that's what we judge our success on. And of course, the better the LTV, the greater the revenue. We all know that. It just takes leadership to say, I commit to that. So it's the leadership, it's the culture change, it's the metrics, and it's the recognition. And unfortunately, America lags other countries. The respect for data and privacy. I think GDPR is a very good development for us, for the world. The California initiative is the first of the ones that I hope happen across every state, because we need some external nudging to get us to elevate the quality of how we approach data.
Where do you see marketing technology and applications based on AI and machine learning playing a role going forward, and what are you looking forward to taking advantage of potentially?
I'm conflicted about MarTech and AI, because it's become the easy pill and easy solution that marketers are looking for. So if we throw a MarTech or we throw an AI application against it, they'll get better. Well, if all you're doing is automating a flawed model, then you're just learning how to do the old bad behavior faster and in a more automated way. So you're doing more damage at a higher scale.
Right.
Unless you say, we need to understand the human beings at a higher level of quality, depth, honesty, emotional content. So once we understand that human expectation of our brand and our product, we can then say, how have these folks self-defined themselves? What are the actionable pivot points in the criteria, the need, the expectation they have? And now to scale those, let's look at those very organic data points, model and scale those. So you're going from the human out as opposed to a bunch of modeling in. And that is where I see the power of MarTech, and that's certainly I see the power of AI. And fundamentally, I think it's a dead wrong premise to look at AI as we replace human beings, we cut costs, we do all these things. Rather, the beauty of AI as I see it is to make the humans who interact with the customer that much more powerful, insightful, responsive, empathetic, etc. So it's the turbocharging of the human beings as we interact that I think is the jewel that AI brings.
We refer to it as man and machine, and that really fundamentally the technology is not about replacing, but enabling marketers to do their jobs better, to focus on more creative, more strategic insights, things like that.
Yes.
And to your point, I mean, when you throw technology at things, and go back to, we've both been around a few years, to the 90s with process reengineering and things like that, change management. Fundamentally, you know, AI and machine learning are going to require marketers to rethink processes, rethink skill sets, who they hire, in order to be able to not fall into automating bad practices, to your point. Ernan, that was awesome. That was excellent. And happy 35th anniversary, I guess. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you. Just terrific. Thank you.